智者要水，仁者要山，智者动，仁者静，智者乐，仁者寿。And the Confucians use mountain and water to illustrate human. Another Asian scholar in Chinese history named Lao Zi, he used to say, 上善若水, which means the highest level of life is just like water. Characteristic of mountain is stable and heavy, kindness. The Confucians is a symbol mountain. His main idea is kindness, 仁. The movie is divided into two parts. The first part happens in Busan. I think it's a mountain city. And the second part happens in Ipo. I think it's a water city. So there are a lot of mountain and water elements in this movie.
When we talk about Park Chan-wook, we have to mention Chung Seok-young writer and Ryu art director. His artwork, his visual thing is very attractive. It's like very unique, and that's from Park Chan-wook's head, but also in the Ryu Seong-i's head too. But because of like one woman, his life is like just ruined. And I think this one is like they're showing the real life. Like based on Korea, this is very realistic. Like one man, he have an affair with another woman, then his life ends.
There's two firsts on this podcast. This is the first time we've ever talked about a movie, episode 79, and I'm finally talking about a Korean movie, a movie that I love from a director I really respect. And there's another first in this podcast. We have our first Chinese guest, which is 79, and I finally got there. We have three different people here today. First person.
Where should I watch?
Just speak into the microphone.
Okay.
This is a really smooth start.
Hi, my name is Kelly. My Korean name is Yunsuh, and my major is visual design. My name is Jimin, and I'm studying media communication. I chose this major because I wanted to be a film director, but now I'm studying how media affects people's life.
Perfect guest for this. Jessie?
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Jessie, and I come from China. I am a senior student. My major is environment and engineering. I have a deep curiosity about culture and language. 大家好，我的名字叫古塞尔，然后英文名字叫 Jessie， 然后我感觉自己特别的荣幸可以做大卫的，就是这个播客的第一个中国人，然后我也希望可以让就是他的观众们听到更多的中国的声音。谢谢。
谢謝。
Yeah, 谢谢。
Thank you.
What did you say?
I feel very honored to be the first Chinese here, and I want more people to listen to my voice.
Perfect. And hopefully people will realize why we have a Chinese guest and Korean guests here, because we're going to talk about Park Chan-wook's 2022 movie Hae-il. The English title is Decision to Leave, and I've watched this movie with all of you recently in the last couple of weeks, and I've watched this movie many times. You can go and watch Decision to Leave on Netflix or anywhere else. If you haven't seen it yet, before you listen to this, you've got to go and watch it, I think, because spoiler alert, there'll be lots. We've all seen this film a lot of times. Well, I have at least. Let's just start with very simple, like, first impression about this film before we get in deep. Why have you watched it more than once? Why should people be interested in it? Jimin, give us a first impression about this film.
I watched this movie like 4 times, and
Wow.
but yeah, I really liked it. And my first impression of this movie was, wow, he did it. Park Chan-wook did something really nice, really like perfect thing. I think I've watched all of his movie. I cannot say that I'm a big fan of him, but I watched all his movie, and I think this one is the best of his. And that's because I think this movie is hide many things, and we have to cover it like a, I don't know how to say it. We have to cover it like a onions.
Yeah, we have to peel it away. Yeah.
Everything, because we all know there is something, there is some emotion, and there's some like metaphors, and the camera shooting is different, and the shots are different, all the translation and the languages are different. So audience must have to like watch that like, kind of many times to cover it and to find what it really means and what it comes to our life as an audience and as a character of my life.
That's really deep, Jimin. and you said it's like Park Chan-wook's best film, and we'll talk about him in a bit, but Park Chan-wook, for those that don't know, he's also the director of Oldboy, of JSA, of Handmaiden, like some of Korea's biggest films. And of all of those, most people know Oldboy or JSA, but you're like, this is the best one. So that's a bold statement, right? Of all of those, this is number one. Jessie, first impressions of the movie?
I think it's a romantic and a suspense movie, and I think the main idea of this movie is primitive love, and because I think primitive and Asian love has already been distorted with the development of human beings, and love has already lost its original form, and now our attitude towards love even get worse. And when once mentioned about love, then you'll be labeled as love-struck or hopeless romantic. And if you show that you're dying of being loved, and that means you're retarded. And I think this movie gave us a better definition of primitive love and represent this to us.
It's amazing that you see it as romantic and love and
Yeah.
this primitive love. Wow.
Yeah.
I love that we can all watch the same movie and see it differently.
Yeah.
That's real art, isn't it? Kelly?
To be honest, when I first watched it, like, I thought, like, what's this? For me, I'm also a very big fan of Park Chan-wook, and I've already watched all of his movies, and actually, like, his movies are like very crucial and sometimes violent, and there are lots of like some kind of that strong moments. But while I first watched this movie, like, I felt very soft, and actually while I just first watched it, I just see like they're talking about just having an affair, and but I had a question why he is telling this message through this movie, and so I really wanted to watch again and find the like hidden message inside the movie, and it felt very ambiguous. Yes, for me it seems romantic but not. It seems very sometimes crucial but not, and that was the very attractive moment while I watched this movie. And the most reason why I was very into this was because it was a very different from his previous movies.
Do you think there is a hidden message?
He is like kind of criticizing like Korean culture.
Okay.
I can feel this.
Yeah.
While I watched it like third time.
I think a really interesting thing that you said is the movie is ambiguous, because I think all good art is ambiguous. There's not a clear meaning to it, and the good art resonates to so many different people over time. Something like Hamlet, or something like a writing by Dostoevsky or something, because different people read it every 100 years and it still speaks to them, and it speaks to them in different ways because it's ambiguous. And I think that's what this movie is. There's not a simple interpretation of it. That's why I think it's beautiful to discuss. And I had this one idea. My first impression of this movie was, I need to watch it again, and then I need to watch it again. And what I love is that once you've seen this movie 3-4 times, then you can actually watch the movie for the first time. But you need to push through it like 2 or 3 times, and you're like, what's going on? Why? And you watch it again, and slowly things start making sense.
Yes. Yeah.
And once you've watched it 3 or 4 times, then you can actually sit back and relax and watch the movie for the first time. It's a paradox, right? But you need to kind of slog through it a bit. let's say something about Park Chan-wook, like 감독님. My image of it, there's this interview with Bong Joon-ho and the other famous director of Parasite and Okja and Kwemul, and he says in describing Park Chan-wook's movies, Oldboy, JSA, Agashi in Korean, isn't it? Handmaiden?
Yeah.
He says that Park Chan-wook's movies are like, I don't know if this is the correct word, but he said like 편태적인, like perverted or something like that. And he was laughing as he said it, that Park Chan-wook is like some kind of pervert. There's lots of violence and sex. And I remember putting The Handmaiden on, Agashi, one night in the living room. Because I'd heard about it and I thought, I'll watch this, Park Chan-wook. And after about 10 minutes, I realized I can't watch this movie in the living room of my house with kids walking about because, wow. What do you know about Park Chan-wook? Like, what kind of image does he have in Korea or for you, or you guys?
He's actually a weird guy,
Yeah.
I think. And I think that's a very good thing as a job for a director because, you know, as an artist, we should have like their own vibe and some uniqueness. And it seems we should seem very special to achieve. And
What makes him weird? What's the weird thing about it? Is it his hair or is it his I don't know. I'm just curious. What's the weird thing about him?
The weird point is I think he's trying to always talking about some negative topics, but he's trying to express it in a very like soft and like a little bit of like beautiful. No, he cares really lots of like visual things and how the camera angle and lots of like sound effects and some kind of like color. I can feel that, and I think that's the point why he is called like 편태적인 guy.
Which the English would be like a pervert. Yeah.
And there's one like fun theory that I heard from my friend like Mong.
Okay.
Yes, she and me have like similar taste in movie, and like we were talking about Park Chan-wook and Bong Joon-ho, and she told me that they were in the same club maybe at university, I don't know, but
the movie club.
yeah, and there were lots of people and they were like trying to make new movie, and they were talking about which topic we should have. And when Park Chan-wook say some things about topic, everyone said like, oh my gosh, that's too awful, no. But only Bong Joon-ho, wow, that's amazing, left. And when Bong Joon-ho talked about some idea, and everyone said, you're so weird, you shouldn't do that, you're so bad. But only Chan-wook said, I agree with you. And I think like there's a connection between like weird guys, and that's why they are like now a very high level in the director, and they are very like superheroes.
Yeah, these guys have won awards at Cannes and Oscars and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because if some people think of Korea, they think of K-dramas and K-pop and beauty and emptiness. Park Chan-wook's movies are about like incest, like family love in Oldboy and North Korea and lesbianism. It's really hardcore stuff, isn't it? Definite weirdo. Park Chan-wook, any thoughts on him?
I think he's an artist. Because I am obsessed with the lady character in his movies. If I have to name the lady characters in my mind without thinking twice, I would say Agashi. I forgot her name.
Kim Tae-ri is in Agashi, isn't it?
Maybe in the movie.
In the movie,
Yes, the name I forgot. Maybe.
Hideku.
Hideku, yeah.
Okay,
Hideku,
okay.
yes. Hideku from Agashi, and Mia from Pulp Fiction, and now Song Sole from The Determination to Leave.
Yeah.
I think Park Chan-wook is really good at filming and constructing the lady character. He can catch the special and unique temperament from the actress, and he knows the best ways to represent it to audience. And maybe we can't maybe the actress can't catch our eyes for the first time, but we will be absorbed into their unique temperament deeper and deeper. I think He's really awesome. And I heard that he is a godfather of Korean aesthetic of violence. And the other one I know is famous for is Quentin.
Quentin Tarantino, yeah, you mentioned Mia and Pulp Fiction, and I think many people put Tarantino and Park Chan-wook in a similar vibe. And Tarantino has always had strong female characters, like Mia Wallace and Kill Bill and Jackie Brown and these kind of things. He's always had that, and I never thought about that from Park Chan-wook, that gender aspect actually. That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Park Chan-wook, any thoughts on him as a person or director or his position in Korea, Jimin?
I think in Korean film history, Park Chan-wook is really important because of that point she said, the gender effects, because his women characters are really really awesome, but not only like attractive, but it has a kind of feminism thing. And you know that Park Chan-wook always worked together with his own writer Jung Seok-young, and he has his like partner was art director 미술 감독 유성희, and they're kind of a team. So all we know about Park Chan-wook's movie are actually the like project of their team. So I think when we talk about Park Chan-wook, we have to mention about his team, like Jung Seok-young writer and the 유성희 art director, because like Kelly mentioned, his artwork, his visual thing is very attractive, is like very unique, and that's from Park Chan-wook's head, but also in the 유성희's head too, and that visual made it like an 언어화, kind of a word, make into a word, like a scenario thing. That's what Jung Seok-young do. So I think basically Park Chan-wook is a good project team leader, and that makes why Park Chan-wook is a great director, because you know, directing the movie, you have to like do something like a leadership. You have a leadership, and you have to control all the people, but you also have to like, hear what people say and accept their opinions. But like the women character, like she mentioned, Hideko, or like all the awesome character, it influenced by Jung Seok-young and 유성희. So it's not only Park Chan-wook's work, and he has like the power, and he's open-minded to listen his writer or like other director. So I think that makes Park Chan-wook so high level of director, and that's why his artwork is, I don't know how to say it, like I think that's why many people like his movie, because we can feel many like diverse thing in the movie because it made by many people.
I never knew that. So preparing for this, I never knew about his writing team or his art director. I'm suddenly curious about them, to learn about them. And I never thought of the gender aspect of it. Like all of this preparation, and then immediately you blow my mind. Kelly, do you have anything to add on this like gender aspect of it? Like when she watches the female characters or the team behind it, is there a female vibe in there for you or not? Or
like female vibe, but I can feel like Park Chan-wook's vibe. And do you guys feel like?
Yeah, he has his unique style.
Yeah, you know. And
what is it? It's not a secret. Everyone's listening to you.
You know that, right?
But
I don't know what it is though. What is it?
Like the image of him is like K-pop class, we learn the commercial movies and the critical success movies. But while we imagine the critical success movie, like always in my head, the first people that I can imagine is Park Chan-wook. I think he's the most representative director of like critical success movie, because I think the best reason is that he always have a very deep message inside the movie, because like I'm not saying 범죄도시 is bad, but while we watched the movie, it's so fun and we're very into it. But you know, it's so like the ending is so clear and we always can predict. And it's like a series like Marvel, but it's really different from Chan-wook and also Bong Joon-ho's movie. They always have very deep message and they're not like trying to express that directly. They also like try to reveal or like using some stops, and that stops are very perfect, like what you said, like visual things and kind of like camera angles. And I really can't like forget the color of 헤어질 결심.
Yeah, the color thing. I think that makes what Park Chan-wook unique style.
Yeah,
maybe.
color is amazing.
Yeah, color and the camera shot.
Yeah, and the fish pot, like that one is so beautiful. While I first watched movie, like I was like, "What's this?" But I can remember the fish pot, and I think he gives some kind of very like hard impression to people by some visual things. But he's not saying it very directly, and he doesn't always like his movie is not happy ending, and it's very it can feel very depressed, but we feel like very attractive to his movie. And I don't know what I'm saying, but I think this is his vibe.
Maybe it's because he's also a photographer.
Oh
He's
yeah,
a photographer, so he's really good at like 순간 포착? How do I
setting the scene or picturing it?
Yeah,
or
picturing
cinematography.
it.
Yeah,
just like a scene, like a shot. He's really good at like short shots and short like picturing it. I think that's because when you get a photo of something, we have to like make all the meanings inside just a one photo. So I think that's because and the photo is really affected by what color it is. So I think his photographer thing is a fact in his movie. Maybe.
especially the closing.
Yeah, close shot.
Yeah, that's amazing.
and you actually, when you're watching his movies, they don't feel like a Marvel movie because they're simple. You don't have to think. You don't have to do anything. Like you watch I like the way you just call him Chan-wook, by the way. Chan-wook아. It's funny for me, kind of. But when you watch it, sometimes you see a shot and you realize I'm looking at art right now. You're not watching a movie, but it makes you stop and you look at what he's put on screen and you realize that everything is intentional. It's not just to tell you like these people are going to talk, but when you see these shots, sometimes you realize he's telling you things through how he's showing it to you, and you realize I'm looking at art right now. There's something here, and it makes you stop, and you're like, wow. I can also smell his movies sometimes.
Yeah.
Like because we've talked about the color, and we've talked about maybe the sounds a little bit, but you can't smell his movies. But the fish and the sea and the turtles and it's almost sort of coming. I can almost smell his movies sometimes.
Yes, I agree. And I think that point is the difference with Bong Joon-ho and Park Chan-wook. I think Park Chan-wook is kind of smell, and Bong Joon-ho is atmosphere.
Okay, yeah.
So I think there's a slight difference in two words, right? And in 기생충, we don't say we can smell it, but the smell is the important point of the 기생충. But
Parasite,
Parasite, yes. And the smell is really important point in Parasite, but I think that smell means atmosphere about poverty, atmosphere about the capitalism, atmosphere about like 계급, the level.
That's right.
Yeah, but like in Park Chan-wook's movie, we can smell the blood, we can smell the sea, not just an atmosphere, but we can smell the direct thing, and that makes what we feel different from Bong Joon-ho and Park Chan-wook.
Yeah. There is a vibe there. It's very difficult, I think, to describe. Jessie, do you have any like thoughts on Park Chan-wook's vibe, the vibes of these movies? You've already said it was romantic.
Yes, romantic. But actually, to the majority of Chinese audience, they might think this their relationship is kind of immoral.
Yeah.
Yeah, but after watching this movie 3 times, and I can feel their just like I just mentioned, the primitive love inside. Yeah, and I think Park Chan-wook is really good at leaving a space for audience to think, to consider it by themselves. Yeah.
That's a really nice way of expressing it. Leaving space for the audience to consider
Yeah.
it. So people that know me will know one of my favorite expressions about music from Miles Davis is music is the space in between the notes, the empty space. And that's what I think Park Chan-wook does. It's hard work, but there's lots of space. There's one kiss in this movie between the two characters, but it feels deeply romantic. Like you have all of this thing going on. But I'm curious, like some of the people that I've watched this movie with, I think it's an incredibly romantic and wow, tense and beautiful movie. And then I know some people, they watch it and they're like, that's immoral. That's cheating. They shouldn't do that. That's really bad. What about his wife and this thing? So maybe let's pick up this idea from Jessie. Is it a romantic movie for you guys amongst all of the art and stuff?
Of course, it's romantic movie. I don't know what else we can say about this movie.
Does the morality come into it? Because I've heard a lot of my
like
students and they say this is cheating. This is
There's a question. Are they Koreans?
yeah.
Yeah, and
Well, and some Chinese people use
yeah,
it.
like
Yeah.
Are they Asian?
Yeah, Asia.
Actually, I had this idea last semester. I had a mass culture class. We discussed about why Korean people are into 불륜 affair things. Do you know like Koreans are really into 불륜 drama, like affair movies or affair dramas?
Can you think of any examples? I'm trying to. What dramas do people have affairs? Because there's obviously the high teen romance one that's very pure and Sun Soo Han and like Snowdrop or something like that, right? But where's an affair one?
I don't watch.
We need to ask the Sajagi. We need to get your
like
dad
the famous one is like 사랑과 전쟁. Yeah,
That's like old.
yeah, really old one. And like
Isn't there something about Marry My Husband or something at the moment? Or
yeah, Marry My Husband
Yeah.
and like Penthouse
Yeah.
was in the moment.
Penthouse.
Yeah, so like 막장 drama thing has a lot of affair couples, and Korean audience really like to like watching it, and we just say that's bad, and we curse them.
Yeah.
Koreans really curse them. Like Korean audience watched the drama or movie because we want to curse them.
So it's not about Terry Manjok. It's not
Yeah,
about
not
getting
Terry
some
Man-
satisfaction.
It's
of
kind
the
of
affair.
it's kind of Terry Manjok because I'm not kind of that person. I'm
Yeah.
moral, but they are not. So
Yeah.
I have 권리. How do I say it?
관리,
Yeah.
what, managing? 관리 아니요.
I have my own
Right.
Right,
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
I have my
sorry.
own right to like curse them, to like they're judging them because I am moral and they're not.
How would a Korean person curse people having an affair? What would they say? Would they say "shikya" or something? I'm just curious about. You don't know.
I don't really know about that.
Okay, you
'cause-
don't curse.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
know what you mean.
So the point is like doing affair is immoral in Korea, in Asian country, and also like many other countries.
It used to be illegal until quite recently.
Yeah.
Having an affair, it was
Yeah,
like popped up
yeah,
legally. It was.
Like it was a crime. It was a crime, but not now. But it was a crime, also a crime, and I don't remember like perfectly, but like the conclusion of the class, people want to express their morality. People want to like judging people and just think I'm different from them. I'm moral and you're not, and the you're not person need to be a fake person because we cannot do this like a kind of talk I'm good but you're not thing. It is to like person and person. So we need a fake character one to express our bad feelings, and that is, and like having affair, like 불륜 couple, like a fair couple is the best characters to express our bad feelings for them. So like in the past, Korean governments like tend to make the affair dramas to make people like express their feeling on television and just and turning their eyes of something different. So
is this like the Chundawan SS, like the sex sports screen idea to
like,
get them,
like
distract
that,
them?
like that, distract them for the real problem, but they focus on the like fake problem, like an affair couple. And there's I think like people who said decision to leave is just a 불륜 미화, or like this is just immoral, this is just affair, because they feel this love is attractive. They feel this love, but they think I'm moral, so they want to like have a distance from them, from them. But the real thing is they feel attracted, and
that's kind of interesting. So the people that are most against it because it's cheating and it's immoral, they're the ones really attracted to it.
Attracted to it. And like this is okay, this is not okay. Like the Bridge of Madison County is one of the best sellers in the world, right? And does it okay if because the mother not follow the man, but she protect her family, right? So is it not an affair? Or like
Titanic?
Like Titanic. Or what about Brokeback Mountain? They're shattered. So how can we say this affair is good, or how this affair is bad? How can we judge it? So that's the point why people are attracted to this like controversial point.
That's kind of interesting. It's like people that are most sort of, we have this idea that the people that are most anti-LGBT are like closeted homosexuals themselves or something. You accuse people of something what you're guilty of yourself, maybe. That's the thing, right? Yeah. I find this movie incredibly romantic, like more romantic than a romantic drama. That's the interesting paradox for me. We're meant to watch some romantic things and it's obviously romantic, and now this one isn't. And there's not all of this kind of like sweeping, serenading ballad music and things like this. All of those cliches and stereotypes are not there. But I'm watching this going, wow, this is intense. Because it doesn't feel like hyper real love. It doesn't feel like this version of love on the screen. It feels like the love that people feel in real life, in the street. It feels like the love that you feel, I don't know, when people get old and married and relationships and things like this. It feels like what I see around me with friends and family and uncles and aunties, and you see that, wow, when you get older, love doesn't last forever and this is how it goes. To me, it feels really romantic, this movie. Is it romantic, Kelly? Do you watch this and you go, sarang? Is it primitive love? Is it affairs and cheating and immoral?
Actually, I don't feel really romantic. Of course, this movie is talking about love, but many people might feel romantic. No, it's my opinion. Because for Korean people, because they're talking about love that cannot be achieved. I think that's the reason. Because like if he was just talking about just love and like high teen movies, then this movie just become a like love story and romantic. But actually, the love is a very like for Korean people, it's a very bad thing they're talking about. So it really don't feel, they're talking about love, but it don't feel very romantic for Eastern people. That's why reason they feel like that.
Does the movie, I'm going to get in trouble with this question, I think, in generalizations. Does the movie feel Asian? Does it feel like an Asian movie? Does it have Asian vibes?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
course
what are some of these vibes then? Because that's a really weird thing. It's like, what makes it Asian? That's kind of hard because yes, there's Asian people in it, and the background is Asian. Is there something more? What Asian vibes are there?
There are a lot of Asian elements inside, like a mountain, sea, and there's a Bible in this movie, but actually the Bible has nothing much to do with this movie. It's called 山海经, it means mountain and sea Bible, and it's an Asian book in China. So I think there are a lot of Asian elements inside. Yeah.
I guess one of the main things that we should talk about, because you've mentioned it, is the mountain and the sea. There's that line from Confucius about the kind man and the wise man.
Yeah.
Do you know that line in Chinese, Jessie?
Yeah, I know.
What is it?
You mean in Chinese?
Yeah. Let's hear it.
智者要水，仁者要山. The whole sentence is 智者要水，仁者要山，智者动，仁者静，智者乐，仁者寿. It is the whole sentence.
Okay.
And this originated from the analect of Confucius. And the Confucians use mountain and water to illustrate human. He thinks the characteristic of water is fluid and flexible. Because water can fill up the lower places and turn around when it's higher mountain. So water could be the best symbol of wisdom because water never loses its direction. And there is another Asian scholar in Chinese history named Lao Tzu. And he is a symbol of wisdom because he used to say 上善若水, which means the highest level of life is just like water. And the characteristic of mountain is stable and heavy. So we could say that the mountain is the best symbol of kindness, and the Confucius is a symbol person of mountain because his main idea is kindness. 人, it's his main idea. And from the perspective of this movie, Song Sole still remains innocent even after murdering her two husbands. That means she is a wise woman rather than a kind woman, as she said that in movie, and because of the personality and the social status that made Haejoon, the name of the actor's name in the movie.
Oh, Haejoon?
Yeah, Haejoon,
Yeah.
yes. And made Haejoon become the mountain in this movie, and it's very interesting. I think the movie is divided into two parts. The first part happens in Busan. I think it's a mountain city, and the second part happens in Ipo. I think it's a water city. So there are a lot of mountain and water elements in this movie, and it's happened often. Yeah, and I think they're also the symbol of Song Sole and Haejoon. Yeah.
It's amazing that the way you described it. Before we talk about mountains and water, there's a wonderful video online on YouTube of Bruce Lee, the famous martial artist actor, and he's talking about water. He's talking about Lao Tzu's idea, Lao Tzu being the founder of Taoism, and he says, you see, we watched this in class, didn't we, right? You remember this one?
Taoism, oh my god.
Yeah, but this is the same thing. He says, you see, you put water into a cup and it becomes the cup. You put water into a bowl, it becomes the bowl.
Yeah.
And water can crush and water can soothe. Be like water, my friend. That's the Taoism idea. It's very Asian.
Yeah, very Asian.
Yeah. And so when we talk about these Asian vibes, it's not just superficial. It's not like people doing an English song but wearing a hanbok or something. Like the Asianness is really deep in there. Let's stay on mountains and water. Like, I never realized the two parts of Busan and Ipoh and mountains and water, guys. This symbolism. What do you think of this? You understand the question here that Haejoon. So the line is in the movie that she says in Chinese and then is translated into Korean. The wise man Confucius said the wise man likes the water and the kind man likes the mountain. And that seems to represent them. But it's not just that. It feels like then that is the symbol of the whole movie. And then we start seeing mountains everywhere and we start seeing water everywhere. Jimin, tell us about the mountains and the water. It's hard to explain the whole movie, right? But
Yeah.
how do mountains and water work?
Mountainous water. Oh,
I just thought of another one while you're thinking. So the Chinese character, for those, she kills her two husbands, or at least that's what we're led to believe.
yes.
The first one dies on a mountain,
Yeah.
and the second one dies in the water.
Swimming pool.
I
Oh,
just-
yeah.
it's just everywhere. Wow, this movie is deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know there's a different color represented as a yellow and blue? Yellow is Haejoon's color,
Mm.
like the dark yellow, like the
Seems like green. Green?
no, like yellow, but in like 흙, like a ground yellow.
Okay. Yeah. Like an earthy yellow.
Yeah, earthy yellow.
Yeah.
That's Haejoon's color,
Mm.
and like 청록색, green and blue like thing.
Turquoise.
Yeah, that is Seol's color,
Mm.
and they're mixing everywhere, especially in ending scene. And you know that Haejoon's hair means sea, means
Oh, like
ocean.
Donghae, like
Yeah.
coast. Okay,
Yes.
so that's his name.
Yeah, that's his name. In his name, even if he likes mountain, in his name, he has ocean.
Oh, so this is like yin yang. So in the mountain there's a bit of sea, and in the sea.
Yes.
Mm.
And you know, this is kind of a 음양고행 thing. I think you like it.
Yeah. you
You
know
know-
me well.
You know, water can like defeat. How do I say it?
Yeah.
Water can defeat rocks,
Mm.
right? And mountains, or
Yeah.
rock and
Mm.
ground and like 흙 and 나무 and like rock 돌 kind
Yeah.
of thing. And water can eat all of them.
Mm.
Water can win.
Yeah.
And 설에 makes him 붕괴. 설에 makes him shattered.
Yeah. And because she's the water, she
Yeah, because
shatters
she's
the
the
mountain.
water. She
She
shot-
destroys him.
Mm.
It's like when Asian people play rock scissors paper. There should be a water one that just beats everyone. You do rock scissors paper, water. Does she have anything in her name? Is her name special? So Haejoon is hair,
Yeah.
and he's the mountain guy. So he's kind, but his name is the symbol for sea.
Yeah.
And her name Songseore.
Yeah.
Does she have? Is her name significant?
설에 means she's from west. Like she's from China.
Mm.
Oh.
Okay.
The west side.
And so she's the wise one.
Yeah.
She's the
She's
clever one, and she defeats the husbands and she's quite a powerful character, isn't she?
Yeah.
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 Sometimes scary.
There was a talk that let's talk about her a little bit, because I think Jimin, you wrote this in the notes that Chan-wook,
Yeah, 박찬욱.
Park Chan-wook 감독님, he said he wanted to cast Tang Wei from the beginning of the script.
Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about her a little bit. Tell me something about what's her name? Tang Wei.
Tang Wei. Yeah.
Tang Wei.
Tang Wei.
Who is she? I don't know very much about her.
I think she's not that famous in China, but she's very famous in Korea. I heard.
She's married to a Korean director. Isn't
Yeah.
she?
Yes. And as I want to first talk about her character in this movie.
Right.
So I think the Song Sole is charming, gorgeous but dangerous, and she is a delicate and a vulnerable woman who is dying of being loved.
She's dying of being loved.
Yeah,
Yes.
I guess. Yes. And Tang Wei, so I will talk about Tang Wei.
Yeah.
Tang Wei starred in X-rated movie.
Oh, really?
Yes, called Last Caution. Yes, Last Caution in her 27th. And this movie is controversial. Even to now, it's still controversial. And after this movie, she got blacklisted by Chinese entertainment circle.
Yeah.
And so she chose to go abroad. And Actually, I asked my Chinese friend these days. I'm curious at what's their impression of Tang Wei, and all of them say, I only know the Last Caution, that film, and except that I don't know anything else. And I also read some comments on Chinese social media about Tang Wei, and the majority of Chinese audience think it is a wise and correct choice for Tang Wei to go abroad and start her cinema business in Korea. And because Chinese entertainment circle is not that friendly with especially actress, so if she had put all of her focus in China, then it would be very, very difficult for her to gain such a big success like today. Yeah.
That's fascinating. I never knew about the X-rated movies. In the movie, my impression is she seems to underplay her beauty. She seems very dressed down in this movie. What I mean by that, she's wearing these long skirts and she's not showing her figure or her beauty too much. I would imagine that when she's done up, if she goes to an award ceremony or something, she probably looks stunning, I would imagine. But in this movie, she seems very downplayed. I don't know. That's the impression I get from my male view of her.
But she has a special temperament.
She does, and she's just immediately watchable. You see her on screen and you want to know what she's doing. You want to know what she's thinking. She has this, it seems like she's in control the whole time, but you're never quite sure what she's doing or what she's thinking. She has this incredible magnetism.
Yeah.
When she's there, you're just glued to her.
Yes.
I wonder if that's the reason that Park Chan-wook decided to, or maybe he just wanted to revive her career. There's talk about like sort of Tarantino. He would see old actors like John Travolta and things, and he just want to bring them back. I just want to work with you. But with Tang Wei, you see her there and you're like, this person, she doesn't, this sounds weird, but she doesn't look normal.
Yeah.
There's a stereotype of actors, what you're meant to see now, and this is the lead, and this is this person, and you expect it. But when you see Tang Wei in this, you're like, is this a good person? Is this a bad person? Is this a...
No.
I'm really confused by her.
Yeah.
That's new.
Tell us something about Jimin, about Song Sorry, the character, or Tang Wei, or what's your...
Like first of all, Tang Wei in Korea. Tang Wei is very famous. Not that famous in young generation, but like older than me. She's very famous because of Manchu. Do you know the movie? Manchu is like
I know.
yeah,
I know
Manchu.
that. She got married with a
the
Manchu director.
Manchu and Saekye.
Okay.
Those two movies are really famous in Korea. And
Did she play a Chinese character in those movies? I'm asking, or did she speak Chinese, or was she doing it in Korean?
Saekye is I think she spoke Chinese.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that. And the reason why Koreans love Tang Wei is, I think you got the point. She, what do you say? Like downgrade her beauty.
Yeah, she downplays her beauty.
Downplays her beauty.
Yeah.
That's the point of the attractive. Because, like, of course she's stunning. Of course she's so beautiful, but like the more and more she downplayed her beauty, audiences find more attracted to her, I think.
They're curious. They want to find out what she's really
and
like.
she has her own power. The actress, Tang Wei as the actress, I saw the interview about Tang Wei when she like played Song Sore in this movie. She, like, you know, when foreign actors acting within different languages, like in English or Korean, like if I was an actress and I had to acting with in Chinese or Japanese or other languages, I don't know, I think I just like memorize it, not really trying to like learn it from the beginning, from the like phonics, from the grammar. I think I should just memorizing it and learn what it means and learn what feel should I have in this line. But Tang Wei, I heard that Tang Wei started to learn by grammar.
Mhm.
Because she wanted to know what it means, wanted to feel what this line means. I think that makes Tang Wei is very kind of, she has her own vibe. She has like, we all know she seems like very strong. She has her own vibe, and we cannot say the correct word, but we all feel very like attraction about her.
Mhm.
And I think that's the core of Tang Wei as an actress. And the character Song Seol, which of course is influenced by like the own characteristic of Tang Wei. Like before she killed her husband, the first person she killed was her mother, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, her mom. But she didn't want to kill her mom, right? She killed her because her mom wanted it.
Her mum was dying.
Yeah, her mom was dying, and it was very cruel.
But it was kind of romantic or something.
Romantic.
She said, "You wanted me to become a nurse to look after you, and now I have to be a nurse and take your life," or something. Yeah.
But Seol didn't want to kill her mom, right? I
No,
feel
right.
like
She didn't.
she didn't really want to kill her mom. And that point makes Seol as Seol, like there's a core when you make a character. It's I don't know how to say it in English, but we have their own the most important core, like what makes Seol as Seol. I think that is she didn't want to make someone leave her. Like it's different with like she didn't want to be alone. It's different. She didn't want people to leave her. But she killed her mom, and mom left her, right? And she cannot let Haejoon go. She cannot. I think, just my opinion, she cannot let Haejoon leave her. So she decided to like stay in his mind forever, being his 미결 사건, unsolved
incident,
kind of thing. I think that kind of loneliness is the core characteristic. It kind of how do you say 결함 in English?
I don't know.
Okay.
like 결정, 결심, 결?
No,
Flaw.
like,
Flaw.
yeah, like flaw.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's the biggest flaw and the biggest characteristic of Seol, that she didn't want anyone go, like left her alone.
To leave her.
Yeah, to leave her.
Make the decision to leave.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the point of decision to leave. That's the why title is decision to leave. Just my opinion.
If anybody hasn't seen the movie and they're listening to this, they might think this is like, I remember watching a Japanese movie called Audition, and where there's lots of violence and death and killing. But it's not like that when you watch it. But now I'm thinking about it. Seol kills 4 people. She kills her mum, and she kills 2 husbands, and then she kills herself. I don't know if we can count herself, but there's 4 people that she kills. And there's a line in it from one of the policemen where they say, killing is just like smoking. The first one is hard, but after that it becomes easy. That's one of the line. And she does the first one. And maybe this is too much, but in traditional Asian or Confucian culture, like hyodo or filial piety, respecting your parents was the big thing. And to commit a crime against your parents, or fratricide or matricide, to kill your father and mother, that was a huge crime back in the Joseon dynasty and things like this. But that's what she does, isn't it? That's really interesting character. Wow. She doesn't want people to leave her. And so she kills them.
And finally
I need to go watch this movie again. I don't see her as a murderer, though. That's the really weird thing about this. It doesn't have these kind of femme fatale, like dark, twisted moods, but that's the kind of character she is, isn't it? Kelly, what do you think? Do you have anything, like you sit listening to this murderer of Song Seol, or the character of Tang Wei, or what Jimin and Jessie are saying about her core and who she is?
In my opinion, I think the character Sore is like very important in the movie because like she gives the tension.
Yes.
Because like she kills 4 people, but she looks so beautiful and her lookings are not as a killer. She's just normal woman wearing just long dress, but she's killing 4 people, including her mother and her 2 husbands. That's amazing, and finally herself. And I think this is a very reversal point in this movie, and and I was a little bit scared. To be honest, like I was a little bit scared while I watched she killing his husband, and she's very, but she feels very attractive to me. I don't know the reason why. Maybe she's pretty. And actually, she's not Korean person. She's from China, and this is related with multiculturalism. And I think Chan-wook have an intention of this, because like if Sore was just normal Korean person, the vibe will be very different.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Tell me about that. Because I'm wondering if it's bad to have this Chinese person as a killer, because it's like, look at what the Chinese people do. Because sometimes in Korean movies, the gangsters are Chinese.
Yeah.
They have this kind of vibe going on, right? It's like how all the bad guys were English in American movies or something. But tell me about this vibe? Having her, if it was a Korean person playing Sora, or if she was Korean, it would be different?
It's different. Like, it's... if she was just Korean, we wouldn't feel little special for this movie. Like I think because she's Chinese, we have more interest and we're more into this movie. And
Yeah, that's true.
and I think Chan-wook have a lot of intention for this. He predicted this, and like based on confusion ideas, like killing her mother, and this kind of things are very cruel. And but I think this is just based on the like Eastern vibe, because like I'm like always wondering like what might like Western people feel about this movie, like. Do they still feel like this love cannot be achieved, and killing his husband is a very bad thing and should be banned? I always had a question and have an interest. Like, what do you guys think?
Let me say something, and
Okay.
I'll go to you. I don't think Chan-wook, I don't think Park Chan-wook made this movie for Western people. Sometimes you get Hallyu products or dramas or movies, and they're looking with the international market in mind. They're designed for export and to be popular overseas. I don't think that was the case with this movie. I don't think he's trying to be popular in America or Europe at all, because there's no English. It feels very Asian. Obviously, I can't generalize the whole West, because what is the West? But I think any elements of cheating and adultery, you don't feel it almost, because it's very insignificant. We have lots of Western dramas and movies with, Game of Thrones and all the things on the television, and boobs and dragons, right? It doesn't feel hot in terms of cheating and adultery. But then in terms of the killing, what's also interesting is look at Ojingo Game or Squid Game, and look at Parasite, and look at, I can't watch a lot of K-dramas, Tiyuhak, Jigumuri Hakkyonen, Now We Are All Dead, or whatever the name is. They're super violent, actually.
Yeah.
And it's difficult for me getting older now to watch them. I'm like, that's a lot of blood. That's a lot of things going out. In this one, there's cheating and there's murder and there's death, but you almost don't feel it.
Yes.
And we started by talking about Quentin Tarantino and Pulp Fiction, and when I actually wrote my undergrad thesis, it was between two movies, and one was Pulp Fiction and one was called Requiem for a Dream by Darren Aronofsky. Have you seen that? It's an amazing movie, right? And in both movies, there's lots of drugs and violence and sex, and you watch Requiem for a Dream, and after you've finished, you want to have a nervous breakdown and you want to phone your mother, and you feel it. You watch Pulp Fiction with drugs and murder and death, and you come away going, that's pretty cool. You don't feel what's happening because you're removed from it somehow. And as we're talking about Decision to Leave, with the affairs and the cheating and the 4 murders and killing your mother and killing two, but I don't feel it.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing for me.
I think that's Chan-wook's power.
Yeah, he can make you watch murder and not realize it. That's a dangerous power. What's let's go back to sorry, because I just want to round this off, because there's two things that I'm curious about. What's her Korean like? Because full respect to Tang Wei, because she does this movie in 2 languages.
Yeah.
Right, and to do one movie in one language is hard enough, because sometimes when you watch an actor, you're like, I can see you're acting, that's not very good. But she does this beautifully in 2 different languages, and full respect to her. So I have 2 questions. What's her Korean like? And the second thing is, in the movie, like, how does she present this? How does it come across? And the second thing is, we talked about Park Chan-wook portraying the killer as Chinese. Now, this is a little bit sensitive, but under the previous South Korean government, I felt anti-Japanese vibes were really strong in the supermarkets, no Japan, all of this. Now I feel like with the current government, the anti-China vibes are coming in a bit, right? How is it to have this like Chinese killer? Does it play on stereotypes, or is that good, or that doesn't matter?
I think I can answer both of the questions. Maybe I'll try. Like the first question was, what was the first question?
How's her Korean?
How's her Korean? Oh, I'm sorry.
I am curious about that too.
Her Korean is like, of course, not perfect Korean because she's not Korean. But in this movie, if I can score it, I would give it like a 100%. Because the important thing to like acting and like saying their line, I don't know how to say ogyang, like the
delivery,
tone of line, tone of saying is really important, because tone can judge everything. Tone can change anything and everything. But her tone was perfect, because if she was wrong with the tone, the audience can make it really mistake, because her Korean is not perfect. And of course, the movie used the translator.
It's really clever, wasn't it?
Yeah. And if she doesn't make it right to using her tone, the audience only like I don't know, depends on how she talks, how her voice like, or how her face like. But she used her tone. That was very clever. And the words are very important in this movie, right? Like, 내가 그렇게 나쁩니까? Or like her Korean words are kind of old because she learned Korean by the old drama, 사극, historical. And that point is the like the genius point of Park Chan-wook.
Is 마침내 one of the old words?
마침내.
I used 마침내 in one of my like Korean homeworks, and my Korean teacher said to me, 헤어질 결심 맞지? Because I just used that word 마침내.
Yeah.
Is it finally or destination? Destiny?
It translated to at last.
At last.
Oh,
in
finally.
English. Like, the difference of finally and at last. There's a slight difference of atmosphere. Like the 분위기 is different.
Yeah. What happens when she's talking to the cat or the dead bird, and she says, "Bring me the head of the policeman," and then she says, "And your mouth." I'm like, what happened there? Because just for some people that maybe haven't seen it or they're listening, she's stroking the cat, and she said, "Why did you bring me that dead bird?" And the policeman's over listening this and recording it on his phone. She says, "Why did you bring me that dead bird? Was it a present for me? If you can give me a real present, please bring me..." I don't know what she says in Chinese, but he hears, please bring me the head of the policeman. And then later when he asks her about it, she says, no, I said heart or something. What is that?
The Korean word is bring me his heart, 심장.
심장.
Yeah. But what she meant to say was 마음, like heart, mind,
like his feeling.
Feelings.
Yeah.
Like 마음 and 심장 is the same word like heart in English. So, like that line was kind of a very 결정체 of everything in this movie, because like the slight difference of languages can make many difference of like feelings, and that the slight difference of translator 심장, 마음, or like head, even if you head makes it very like cruel.
Yes,
yeah. But 심장, heart, or like 장기, 심장,
a physical organ.
Physical organ, heart.
Yeah.
That seems like it's kind of cruel but romantic.
Yeah,
because I want his heart.
Mm-hmm.
That has his own vibe, not a head.
Yeah.
You know? So that scene was very romantic, and of course it's weird, and like, but we attracted.
Yeah, and it's really interesting how, like, you ask Asian people about their mind and they point to their chest and they will say, this is my mind. They will say, my chest is in here. And if you ask a Western person, where is your mind? They'll point to their head. We locate the center of ourselves differently. This is a big stereotype across cultures, but when Korean people say maum and they say mind, they point to their chest. It's in there somewhere. It's very different from the Western style. The Chinese person in this movie is the killer. Like, some people are like, why did you make the Chinese person the killer? Why can't she be the boss? But is it a positive representation? I'm not sure about this, because I know some people are very sensitive about representation. And does it feel good to have Tang Wei doing that role? Do you watch that and go, yeah, go on, China, that's good. Like, we're proud that you're in a Korean movie and you're doing this awesome performance. Is it weird to have the killer as Chinese? You said there's a different vibe. I just want to explore this.
I don't think it's a negative thing to describe a Chinese as a killer. Because maybe because she got married with a Korean director, so I think Tang Wei become the symbol of Chinese and the Korean friendship.
Yeah. There's the real genuine marriage and love and friendship. Yeah.
Yes, and as for Tang Wei, I think she's a proud of Chinese. Yes, and she did a really great job in this movie. Yeah, I admire her. I don't think it's a negative thing. Yeah,
that's good. I like that. I like that it's not negative. Right.
Yeah. Chinese could be a murderer, a killer, or a boss. Both okay. I don't think it's like Korean movie must describe Chinese as a boss. That means I'm friendly with you. I think that's not.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I've just seen lots of movies where the Chinese are the gangsters and that happens. I'm thinking of like Extreme Job or Gukhan Jigop or something like that, maybe because I mentioned it today in class. There's two things. I want to talk about the movie now as a poem and these connected scenes. The artistic qualities of it, maybe, and then we hit some other ideas. First of all, just with the Chinese gangsters and these scenes in it, and she's like, we're going to meet the Chinese in 3 days, we're going to do this. There's this whole sort of subplot. And when the violence and these things come on the screen, I notice, because I'm sat at the back of the class and I can see the reaction of all the people watching the movie every time. And when there's some violence or there's talk about Chinese gangsters and things, all the students suddenly sit up. They're like, concentrate, here we go, this is the movie. But what's beautiful about it is nothing happens. It's a dead end. It's a perfect McGuffin. It's like this in Pulp Fiction, why we're comparing these two. But you have them trying to get this briefcase that has this gold in for Marcellus Wallace. you never realize what's in the briefcase. It never shows. It's just like this kind of thing that happens to distract your attention. But the real movie is the relationships between the people. That's what happens in Pulp Fiction. And in this movie, you think it's about China and gangsters and there's something going on and who's our husband and what's slappy going on and there. But the real story is just between these two people and their relationship and what's happening. That's really interesting, that the violence and all of that is the distraction. I think that's beautiful. The movie to me seems like a poem, because sometimes a scene will end with water dripping and the next scene starts with water dripping. Or a scene will end with somebody saying, mul, and then the next scene starts with somebody saying the word mul, or a face into a face. It feels like the stanzas of a poem going back and forth, like you have a rhyme. So the words rhyme with each other. This movie seems to rhyme with each other. And sometimes it's like directly connected, and sometimes the middle connects with the end, and the end connects with the beginning. It feels like this very unchronological thing. How do you feel about the Yeongyos and the idea of the movie as a poem and all these connecting scenes? Is it too much? Is it beautiful? For me, I watch it and I'm like, there must be some meaning here that I'm not getting. Or maybe it's just keeping my attention. The eye drops. What's going on with the eye drops? Why is he putting eye drops in? There's something there. And then it goes from blue to blue. And this fish tank to this water. And there's water dripping and it goes to her mum's IV drip before she kills her. Everything's connected in a beautiful way. The movie is a poem, I think. It feels like a poem. And with a poem, sometimes you read it and then you need to go and read it again. And the more times you read the poem, the more it makes sense. That's why, like at school, you have to study poetry. Because if you read it once, you're like, okay. And then you read the poem again and you're like, I didn't see that the first time. Right? And that's what this movie to me feels like. It feels like a poem that has all these different connections and threads. Is that nonsense? Is that too deep? The connections are there. How do you feel about these artistic connections? Silence.
Of course, there is a meaning.
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned about the eye drop. What do you think the eye drop means?
Okay, so during the movie, Haejoon, the policeman, is always putting, he's not always, but he's often putting eye drops in.
Yes.
And he's putting eye drops in when he needs to see.
Yes.
That's a homophone, right? When he needs to see in the sea and the water. And there's always this talk about fog and mist, and that's why people leave Ipo, not because they come. So I don't know. What is it? I haven't been able to work it out by myself. I don't get the eye drops.
This is not an answer.
Yeah.
Haejoon is detective,
Yeah.
and he's proud of himself as a detective, and he wants to see everything very clearly. He wants to see everything very directly. He wants to find something very. He wants to like crawling deep into the truth. He wants to find something in there, but his inside is so dry, so he needs to be watered by something to see something directly, because he wanted to do it, want to see something, like you said. So he got the eye drops and make it watered and make it like fresh, and he like seeing something. And this act makes kind of react, like you said, it's Yeongyol. When he put the eye drops in, and he wants to see everything clearly, and he wants to see everything directly. He wants to make everything very like clear, not ange like Ipo. He wants to see the truth, so he put in the eye drop, and he saw the dead body of Song-seol's first husband, and like you said, the dead body. So see him, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of point of view shot.
Through the eyes.
Yeah,
of the
for
dead
the eyes
person.
to Haejoon. Haejoon's eye to the dead body, and dead body's eye to Haejoon. Because Because if you want to see something very directly, then that something can see you together, like a Nietzsche.
Yeah. When you stare into the abyss looks back at you.
Yeah. That's because you want to see something very directly. And like in Haejoon's characteristic, he didn't know that he loved Sore, and he didn't realize that he said, I love you to Sore, right? Like,
did he say it? I still
no,
can't hear it.
he didn't say it. He didn't say the word love, but he expressed it by some kind of acting and some kind of word. But he didn't want to realize it, but he didn't want to see it directly, because he wants to be pure. He wants to be, like I said, moral. So he didn't want to see it, but some part of him, he always want to see it directly. So that eye drops and the 연결 of connection of everything reflects all the characteristic of Haejoon and also Sore. Because if I want to know you very directly, I have to see you in my mind eye. And if I see you, you can see me too. And if I want to know myself, I have to see you that you looking at me, right? So this connection make all the movie is connected.
So he sees himself sometimes through Sore.
Yes, sometimes to Sore, sometimes to dead body, sometimes to everything. And his eye drops means he wants to see something very clear. And the last time he didn't use eye drops is when Sore disappeared. So he didn't need eye drop anymore, because he realized he finally can see himself without the eye drop, without someone's eyes.
Tell me about the shoelaces.
Shoelaces.
He's always tying up his shoelaces. They're tying up his shoelaces in the water and things like that. So shoes kind of often have this symbol in Korea, like you shouldn't buy shoes as a present for somebody because they run away, or you shouldn't wear, when your boyfriend goes to the military, you wear rubber shoes, and the shoes have this big thing, right? There's all these shoe symbols that we don't have in the West. It's like, oh really, that means that? He's tying up his shoelaces all the time.
Did you find the difference of the shoes?
Hiking shoes and gudu. He has like 운동화 and gudu, so he has trainers and dress shoes.
What's the difference of hiking shoes and gudu?
I feel like I'm being interviewed now. I think he says in the movie that there's no need to run in Ipo. So he doesn't need to chase and go after people anymore.
Yes, so he wore gudu. And when he was in Busan, he wore hiking shoes because he had to run and he had to climb the mountain. And then he came to Ipo, like after break up with Sore, or I don't know how to say it. He didn't want to run, so he changed his shoes by the gudu. But like shoelace thing, when he found Sore's 흔적,
What's 흔적?
Sore's thing.
I don't know. Give me an idea.
Trace.
Trace?
Yeah, Sore's trace. The time when he realized.
Oh, like the record that she'd gone up the mountains?
Yeah, like the time the time Haejoon find this murder is related with Sore in Ipo.
Yeah.
He finally tying his shoes up and just ran to the 현장. Ran to the scene.
Yeah.
That means the tying shoelace means he had his own mind as a detective. It's just like a I don't know how to say it. Jinx?
Okay, like a jinx.
Like a jinx.
Yeah.
Of him as a detective.
Yeah, it's like what do you do? It like something that you need to do, a superstition before you play a game or before you do something. They people might put on their left boot first and then their right boot. It's just one of his superstitions.
His superstition, his 습관.
Yeah.
So that means it also connected with the eye drops. He wanted to see something directly, and to see that he had to run to there,
Mm.
so he need to tie up
Yeah.
his shoes, even if it was kudu.
I think we should talk about the ending of the movie, because I think there's the symbols of the pomegranates, there's the symbol of the shoelaces, there's the symbol of the eye drops, there's the symbol of the blue and the green and the water and the mountains, and and the turtles. And the turtles that bite his finger, and all of this is symbolized, right? It's so much. But I think we should probably get to the end of the movie, which I couldn't predict. I never knew how it was going to happen. And once I knew what was going to happen, once I'd seen the movie once and then I started watching it with my students, I could see their frustration. I could feel it in the room, and they're like, what? What's going to... No, you never know how this movie is going to end until you finally realize. And even I thought she was going to walk into the sea. You get this idea that she's going to walk into the sea at the end. Sorry, it feels like it. And you're like, oh, she's going to walk into the sea. And then she doesn't even do that. She, on the beach, she digs a hole. And behind the hole, you have this big mountain of sand. And it's the same kind of mountain and hole that she puts a dead bird in earlier in the movie. And then she gets into the hole and waits for the water. At one part, before all the water comes in, she stands up. She stands up and then she looks out. And then, what's she holding? Sorry, suddenly I've forgotten. She's holding something.
Her
It's not the urn, is it? They've already thrown the ashes of her grandmother and...
the basket.
Basket.
She's
basket.
holding a basket?
Yeah, she used it as
Oh,
digging.
to dig the sand.
dig the
yeah,
sand.
okay.
She was
Yeah,
a
I get it.
basket.
She's like a bagoni or something, right? And she stands up and you think, okay, but then she goes back in. And then the water comes in, the water crushes the mountain, you see her hand, and that's it. And then you see Haejoon running through looking for her. What is the end of this movie? When you what is it? Two questions here, guys. When you first saw it, how did you feel? And what does the ending mean? Like, what's your reaction to it? And then what is the ending trying to tell us? Jessie?
I think the way she chose to suicide herself is really new, because I never seen this in other film before.
Yeah.
And later I get to know that this film is originated from two things. The first thing is the sun, the mist of the sun.
Yes.
Yeah, in this movie. And the second thing is from a sudden inspiration from Park Chan-wook, and he wondered that if how can a person commit a perfect suicide and can make him disappear from this world completely. So
I thought that was...
and I think this movie is a best answer for the question from 10 years ago. And I also found one detail that the location Song So-le chose, and I want to show this picture.
Before you show the picture, I just want to clear this. So there's two inspiration. One was the song,
Yes.
right, which is repeatedly played by the grandmother. What's the name of the song again?
안개.
It's just Ange, that's it. Okay, we missed. And the second thing that inspired him was how to commit the perfect suicide. It's like, should we really be showing people this movie? But okay, that's a fascinating question, all right? And you have a picture.
Yes, I got a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will show. This is a location where Song So-le chose to buried herself, and we can know from the Chinese document which were sent by Chinese government that the hometown of Song So-le is Shandong province, which is here. Yeah, so the place where she bore and the place where she chose to die are just facing each other across the sea. Yeah, so I think it's very...
That's new.
Yes, it's very new. Just across the sea, streetly.
And that's why she's looking at it. And
Yeah,
that's why she stands
yeah,
up
yeah.
to look at it.
Yeah.
This perfect suicide has still shocked me. The inspiration was to show how to commit the perfect suicide because it feels like it's perfect.
Yeah.
Maybe in reality, no, they would find her or something would float up. But in this movie, it feels like, boom, gone. That's it.
Yeah, like I think you guys can remember that the line, like throw that phone away, like no one can find it.
Yeah.
Yeah. 깊게
Yeah,
바다에
deep.
버려요.
Yeah, throw it in the
Throw
sea.
in the sea. And no one can. She was the phone. She was the like evidence of Haejoon's love, of Haejoon's crime. She was the evidence. So she threw herself deep in the sea.
But she did it. She put herself in she dug a hole in a mountain. Like, that's a weird thing. Did you get that mounting thing, or am I looking at that too much? That there was a mountain behind her hole, like a sand mountain.
Yes,
that
you're
the
right.
water crushes through, yeah?
You're right. Like, I put the kind of a question in here.
Yeah.
Like, this scene has a secret.
The scene has a secret. So tell us the scene. What you're talking about, the final scene?
Yeah. The ending scene.
So the final scene, you have the water rushing in. It crushes the mountain of sand which she's built. In class, I think I gave students the idea of feng shui, 风水.
Yeah, I remember
wrong,
that.
but this was just my own personal interpretation. This is what I was trying to do the whole time. That in Asian feng shui and 风水, you always have a mountain at the back, and then you have the circle of the city, and then you have the water at the south, and that's how they built Seoul and many other cities like that.
Yeah.
And that is what was happening in that final scene. That's how I saw it. I saw the mountain, and then the circle, and then the river, but then they all came together. It's like the water and the hole and the mountain sort of like come together, and the becomes the yang, and the yang becomes the and then there's nothing, but there's everything. I feel like I haven't got your secret though, Jimin, that you're asking about. You're looking at me like, yeah, well done, David. But that's not it.
No, just I thought that like every time I saw this, worship this, I never thought kind of that, like 풍술 Taoism. So it was very new, and I think that makes pretty sense. Like the hint was geology.
Yeah.
In the ending scene, there was a sunset, right?
Yeah.
The sun goes over the sea. That means the ocean, the sea is Seohae, the west side of the Korea. The west sea of the Korea is Seohae. But you know, the backward of the ending scene, there's a kind of rock and there's a pine tree, and it reminds us of a mountain, right? So there is a sea. There's a sea. And the sunsets go to here. It means that place, the Park Chan-wook filmed it in Seohae, in the west side of the Korea. But the rock mountain and pine tree, they not really grow at the west side of the Korea. It's from Donghae.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's from the east.
Yeah, it's from the east. So Park Chan-wook filmed the ending scene like the two different places and just make it edit to make it one. You can see you can see that like that tree and that rock mountain, it doesn't really exist in Seohae.
So it's when east meets west and west meets east, and it's they're like these star-crossed lovers, aren't they? These two people that can never meet, that can never quite come. And what's the line in there? Because we didn't say the line yet, but when your love started, mine ended. Where is it? I thought I put it in the notes somewhere. Somebody find it.
Number 6?
Yeah,
Number six, okay. The moment you said you loved me, your love ended. And the moment your love ended, my love began. And so they can't come together. And this feels to me like yang, the yin-yang idea, that as soon as spring starts, like winter ends. And as soon as spring, like you have these two things and they can never come together, but they need each other. And that feels like these two characters, like Romeo and Juliet, like this red and the blue, these two moments on the GPS that can never quite come together. But because they can't come together, they're destined, like night and day. it's a beautiful thing,
Yeah.
really. Kelly, the ending of this movie, what did you think of it? Did it give you any vibes? Did you look at it and go, that's an interesting ending? Was it the perfect suicide?
I felt like there is like two mountains, 구소산 and 호미산,
Yeah.
and Seore was very afraid of 구소산.
Is Gususan the name of a mountain?
Yeah, inside the movie.
Okay.
And Haejoon was afraid of 호미산. And first, they met at the 구소산 where Seore was very afraid of it, and then they met at the 호미산 again, but they didn't really have like they really can't like set their mind. But and then Seore goes to the sea, and Haejoon like finds her, and but he tries to find her, but finally he can't. And Seore, actually, I think Seore did lots of expression that she can do to Haejoon, but Haejoon was still a little bit afraid, cause like he is a 형사, and
He's a Hongsa?
형사.
Hyungsa?
Yes.
What's a Hyungsa? I know Hyungsa is adjective. What's a Hyungsa?
Detective.
Yeah.
He's a
detective.
detective.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sa,
Hyungsa.
Lisa.
Yeah.
Okay, Hyungsa.
Because of his job,
Thank you.
and he has a wife, and this movie is like totally Eastern vibe, and I think there's lots of Korean stuff in it, so I think Haejoon was like still confused, and he was a little bit, I think, scared. Even Seore gave lots of expression to him, so the timing didn't match it well. So Seore expressed a lot, but Haejoon didn't like made his mind. So Seore made a decision to leave, and that was the ending. And they still couldn't meet, but Seore made Haejoon not to forget her forever.
Yes.
Even still they can't meet again. I think this is a very beautiful ending. Like it's like suicide still, but this is wonderful ending and beautiful ending, and you know this love is not can be achieved. Like it's affair for like Asian people. So I think this like ending is right for this movie. Like if this love was like achieved, like it goes like the story feels like a little bit like weird. So I think this ending is perfect, and there's some kind of like elements like mountains, oceans. I think that kind of things are like decoration of like revealing this ending very softly and making a very beautiful ending. Even this is a like kind of suicide, and this is also Chan-wook's vibe, and so I think the ending was perfect and it was so beautiful. And
I'm sitting there thinking, stop showing Korean people suicide movies. But because tomorrow I've got to do an interview with people coming from Sweden about mental health in Korea and all of this thing. And when I teach mental health, I sometimes tell my students, like, I was really shocked when I noticed how many good guys in Korean movies, or good girls, they commit suicide in Korean movies and dramas, and that's a sign of their goodness, or that's a good ending for them. Because, like, I don't know, growing up in the West, suicide was like the coward's way out, or it was the cheap way out. I'm generalizing a bit, or it's a sin against Christianity. You're not meant to kill yourself, only God can kill you. But in this, I'm just hearing you guys describe it. It's the perfect suicide. It's beautiful. And then, I'm not criticizing you, by the way. I completely get where you're coming from. But there's also part of me going, I love this movie. Should we really be showing young people this movie? You know,
Because of the suicide?
Yeah, because of the suicide, because of the effects of portraying it as beautiful. And I agree. I love this art. I think it's beautiful. But suddenly I've got this like, oh my God, we got to protect people.
For young people, I guess this might feel negative because there's so many cruel stuffs in it, and based on confusion ideas, there's lots of things that should be banned in this movie, like killing someone and like meeting another woman and killing myself. But for us and like for like students in college, I think this one is a very perfect movie, and I'm keep saying like suicide is very beautiful.
like suicide,
Yeah.
like killing yourself for some of the purpose, but in like Asian countries, like if you kill yourself because you have your own meaning or if you want something, it's very honor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not like a coward of sin, but it's kind of an honor and the highest level of 자기 희생, like sacrifice.
That's right.
The most highest level in sacrifice is killing myself for something. So, like in this like high contact society, like in like I think I mentioned it when we had an exam, but in like Asian movies or Asian dramas, when we have a like intense feeling, but it's kind of a like kind of crucial and some kind of bad intense love, kind of a 좀 공격적인, offensive. Love can be offensive sometimes, right? and
primitive.
yeah, and primitive, right? And like I think Asian love represent like tend to reveal as a sacrifice to someone, and the highest level of sacrifice is killing myself. So like that makes context, that makes sense. So suicide is kind of wow, that's beautiful. Wow, that's a perfect ending. But we don't really think like suicide is kind of a sin or coward.
Yeah.
But like in like a Phantom Thread or like other than Western movie, when they want to like film the intense love, intense bad love, like offensive and like fighting each other, but they still love each other. I think they tend to like, I don't know, not sacrificing, but I will get you even if you don't want me. That's not sacrifice, right?
That's not.
That's
It's greed or lust.
yeah,
or
it's
something.
greed. But like I think most of art film in Western tend to like this kind of road of love.
This deep passion.
Yeah,
that's,
deep passion, deep intense love go to kind of offensive and greed. I will have you. But in Eastern culture, or like maybe it's just Korean thing, like the deepest intense love, I will kill myself for you. I will sacrifice myself for you.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of a difference, maybe.
It's so powerful, this movie, isn't it? I mean, we've gone from symbolism to romance to the beauty of sacrificing yourself for somebody else, and that's what it is. It's just a movie that even now I still don't understand it. There's more that I need to get in. I think as let's bring this towards the end. I want to say something about Haejoon though, the man, because we spoke a lot about Sore. And I'm also really curious about his new assistant that he gets on Ipo. That's a woman, right?
Yeah, she's a famous comedian.
She's a famous comedian. Yeah. She's brilliant in this movie, right? But she's not meant to be funny. But or is she meant to be funny? Is this a funny movie?
No, she doesn't meant to be funny, and she was not funny in that movie.
I thought she was hilarious. Just the way she look at him sometimes, and the constant questions. Why did they do that? Maybe they did that because of this, and maybe and it's just this beautiful open-eyed character. Let's say something about Haejoon in this, because he's almost kind of like an anti-hero, isn't he? He's a policeman, but he's in love. he's in love with another woman. He doesn't seem to have any passion towards his wife. He's thinking about another woman when he's in bed with his wife, and he's texting this other woman at 3 a.m. standing outside. That's pretty emotional, deep. He fails to catch a killer. He has insomnia. He doesn't find her final grave. He goes from being like the country's top detective to working in bumfuck nowhere. I'm sorry, that's the word that came out of my mouth. Like in sticks, right? But we kind of watch him, and I don't know how you feel. I feel like I almost feel sorry for him, but I'm like, I understand you, and I can relate to you, and I can see elements of myself in you, because you're not a perfect person, and you're not going to be this hero that at the end of the day everything's a happy ending, and that doesn't happen for him. He loses everything. He's kind of a loser, and you spend the whole movie watching this loser, but you're hoping he does well, but he doesn't, and you get to the end of the movie and you're like, you lost everything. You're crawling around in the sea in the sand. You're dirty. You've got nowhere to go, and you're like, you spent a whole movie watching this person. That's kind of a weird thing, and then it ends. There's no happy ending. There's no closure for him. Just this spiral into being shattered. So maybe it's a movie as much about masculinity. Is it a warning against infidelity? Don't cheat on somebody because this is what will happen. I don't know. I don't feel it like that. But his whole life just gets ruined. Whole life gets ruined. Jessie, how do you feel about Haejoon? How do you feel about the male guy in this?
Actually, the first impression of Haejoon, I think he's not a handsome. He's not a handsome actor. Yeah, but after 3 times watching this movie, I start to get his unique handsome. Yeah, and I think he's kind of like Tang Wei. They all have the unique temperament and different from others. And as for the characteristic of Haejoon, I think he's a soft man. He's a soft, and he always want to show his pure love to Song So-rae. Like, and there's a detail I found that it's also about the language.
Yeah.
It's about he mentioned in his movie that he wants to explain the way that Song So-rae's husband died, and he used 토보 용성.
I don't know what that is. What's that?
토보
This one.
두부 열상.
Yeah, 토보 용성. And actually, and after he said that, and he explained it in more simple words, and he's afraid that Song So-rae would not don't know this word because it's a professional noun, and actually this word is this word is similar with Chinese. That actually every Chinese can understand what this means because it's in Chinese it's 头部裂伤. It's very similar. Yes. So actually, he always want to make Song So-rae easier to understand what he said. I think that's what his soft love is. Yeah.
And the movie wouldn't be as good if Haejoon and So-rae were really beautiful. So what you said when you first watched it, you didn't think he was handsome. I think if these guys were like picture perfect, like K-drama, really beautiful, like, because some people are in movies and dramas, they're super hot. I think if these people were super hot, it wouldn't work. You need to see Haejoon as, these are handsome people, and Tang Wei is a really pretty person. But in this movie, they don't come across as super hot, and I think that's important to make you believe this. There's one moment, and I wish I'd written down the word, but when he goes up to the snowy mountain with her and she's going to he helps throw away her ashes of her grandmother and her mother, he says to So-rae there's a reason why I like you, right? And he says, because your body is, and then he says like upright in English, but he says this word really funny in Korean. Can you remember that word?
꼿꼿해요.
Yeah. What does he mean here? He's like, you know why I like you? Because your body 꼿꼿해요.
Yeah, 꼿꼿해요. Upright. Yeah, it means upright. You're upright. It's upright is not a usual word, right?
It feels like it's coming out of his mouth strange. It's almost it feels like he's speaking Chinese or something. He's using archaic language.
꼿꼿해요 is just feels like pine tree or like bamboo tree, like a tree like stick into the ground, and she always have the like her 자신감, her confidence. But you know that Seore wasn't that confidence since until he said that, and after he said that, Seore makes herself confident and makes herself 꼿꼿하게. She changed her like body, how she stand, how she sit. So like he said, Haejoon said, Seore is upright, Seore is 꼿꼿해, but Seore was not. He just saw what he wanted to see.
She and the character of Sorry, we're going to Sorry again. She follows and copies what everybody says. So she's watching these dramas, and then she repeats those lines, and then she hears this phone call like 바다에서 깊게, and then she says 바다에서 깊게. And what people say to her, she just then becomes. She's like the abyss, isn't she?
Yes.
Or she just reflects what other people say to her, and then she becomes that. Jessie, how was Haejoon's Chinese? He speaks Chinese a little bit in this, doesn't he? She says to her, like, call me pretty in Chinese or something. That's a pretty, deep thing.
Yeah, I think his pronunciation is perfect.
Oh,
really,
perfect,
really. Yeah,
perfect.
yes. There's no accent.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
He must have practiced. That's quite an intense part, isn't it? And she says to him, say it in Chinese or something. Haejoon, Kelly, any thoughts on the male actor in this? The male lead?
Actually, he's a very perfect person before he met Seore. But because of one woman, his life is just ruined. And I think this one is they're showing the real life. Based on Korea, this is very realistic. One man seems to be very perfect, but he have an affair with another woman, then his life ends. And this is according to normal people, and especially for the celebrities, it's very a sensitive part.
Lee Sung-gyun and things like that.
Oh yes, it's really sensitive part, and this is very realistic, and I think the director really wanted to show the real life, using this kind of message and movie. So I think that's why the end of the movie is not very happy, and it's just very real, and I also agree with their appearance. They're not so handsome. Of course they're pretty and handsome, but in the movie, that's really hidden, and I think it gives very connection with our real life, and we feel more realistic about this movie, and people make some kind of emotions for it, and actually having an affair is very bad thing in Korea, and it should be banned, but for me,
good luck with that,
I'm a
President
very
Kelly.
conservative person, so I really agree with that idea, but our emotions, to be honest, we couldn't we couldn't really
control them.
yes, self-control. Like it's a very hard thing, and we're just like not showing it. So, and that's also the very realistic part, and I think that's all included in this movie. And like,
I love the affair though, Kelly, is one kiss.
yes,
There's one kiss. Like, it sounds like this steamy affair, like this Basic Instinct, 9.5 weeks, and all these like the 2007 or 17 movie you were saying that Tang Wei did, these extreme movies, or Agashi, which very extreme. In this movie, they have one kiss. That's it. Ruined his life for one kiss.
that is also very realistic. And I think the like imperfection is very important in this movie. Like nothing is perfect, and it's very realistic, and that makes the movie quality very high.
Yeah. Jimin, anything else on Haejoon? Did we miss anything on him?
He's a loser. Yeah, basically, he's a loser.
Yeah.
And he's a loser. And if there's a masculinity in this movie, it would be Jun, the like Chong-an's friend, the Haejoon's wife's friend. And like, when you think about Haejoon, when we think about this movie, we don't really think of Haejoon.
No.
No, we don't. Because this movie is for Seore.
Yeah.
If we have to like pick one character, it would be Seore. Definitely, it would be Seore. So, but we attracted to her by Haejoon's eyes.
That's right. I agree with that.
Because Haejoon is loser. Yeah, like I mean, like the loser point is we can bond with Haejoon. We all know that love can make people kind of dumb and kind of a stalker. We want to like watch. We want to think and watch what they would do, and we always think about them. And that can be a little bit like psychotic or something. Love can make us a loser. So like that loser point is the important to the character and also important to the audience too. And the Haejoon is kind of a show us to love need to be translated, but translate need time. So that makes lost in translation in love. Because Seore is Chinese, so Haejoon needed to use translator, and also like Seore need to use translator too. And there's a kind of a little bit difference, like when we use we all use translator, and if there's not a like 100 perfect thing in translator, like if Seore use translator, we can understand what she wanted to say, but we cannot feel her emotion. But when she used her not perfect Korean, we can feel her emotion but not really understand what she says. So audience have to mix them in this seat while watching the movie, and that process happens same to Haejoon too, and that makes bond to audience and Haejoon. And that like Professor mentioned about the texting scene, like
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's 3 a.m. outside and texting with other women. She's a loser, but
But he can't even text her. The hilarious part is he starts texting something and then she texts him, so he deletes it.
Yeah, so he deletes it.
And then she texts again and he starts to text something and then he deletes it. Like he can't even lead the conversation.
Yeah, and I think that represents that the moment your love ended, my love began. And that ended, begin thing is also connected with that scene.
Yeah.
In that, even in that texting, right?
I get it.
Yeah. So translation, and we can get lost in the translation, and love needs translation, but translation needs time. So what I mean lost in translation means if when my translation ended and I finally can understand what you really mean it, like I mix your like face, I mix your voice, I mix your like translated word like the heart or head or kind of 심장 or 마음 or something. When I finish all that process and I finally understand what you're saying, my love is started, but your love is finished because my translation get too long.
Yeah, there's a lag.
Yeah.
It's like when you do a Zoom conversation or something.
I think so that lost makes Haejoon kind of a loser, but we also connected with Haejoon.
Yeah. Because if he was amazing, we couldn't relate to him.
Yeah.
Because he's a loser, we can be close to him. This is a movie about a loser and a woman who kills 4 people and a perfect suicide. And we're talking about it.
Mad woman and loser.
Yeah, I know, but it feels beautiful and it feels like there's so much going on that we need to understand it. This is a bit of a tangent, but there's a movie called Lost in Translation. I don't know, have you guys seen this movie?
Yeah.
No.
No? Okay. It's an amazing movie. The actual Korean title is really bad. It's like 사랑을 통역할 수 없어요 or something.
사랑도 통역이 되나요?
Is that it? Okay. Love can also be translated?
Does love can be translated?
Yeah, okay, that's right. The question form of it. It's an amazing movie about modernity and modern life and feeling alone in a city, right? Loneliness. And you have these 2 characters, this kind of...
In Japan,
Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson. It's an amazing piece of art. And I think this movie is incredible. I watched it with my students, and in this, I can't remember if they kiss once or not.
No,
they don't,
they
right?
Kiss.
It's not that kind of romantic thing. They don't even kiss once. But I watched it with my students, and my students, Korean students, were like, "That's cheating. That's really immoral." And they had this same reaction to it. I was like, "No, it's about modernity. It's about feeling alone and needing a connection and an inyon, and it might come from an old person, a young person." But loads of my students, maybe like Kelly, they were like, "That's cheating. That's brilliant. That's an affair." It blew my mind that these reactions to movies. Watch it if you haven't seen it. Lost in Translation. It's a really nice movie.
Okay, I will.
Let's try to wrap this up. I think there's so much we haven't spoken about, but I think we need to finish somewhere. Do you have any final thing about this movie? Like, what do you want to tell people about this movie, or what's your final conclusion about this movie? Do you have any final words, Kelly?
This movie is very weird.
It's got weirder after this conversation, hasn't it?
I can feel like I'm going weird. I can feel I'm going weird because, we're talking about, killing someone, suicide, and having an affair, and we're saying, all together, that's very beautiful. This doesn't really make sense, but I think this is the very big attractive point, and this one is the reason why lots of people like this movie, and it's amazing. Since I'm watching it again and again, I'm more into it, not getting bored. So I really like this movie, and I really want another similar movie with this from Chan-wook again. And yes, that's my my sum up.
He's getting better with age almost. Yeah, it's amazing that even though he's 60 now, Park Chan-wook, his quality is not going down. He's making movies maybe that reflect his age, but sports players and pop stars, they have an early peak or something. But with Park Chan-wook, with this artist, he's still very capable of doing these things. Kelly, I watched this movie 4 times in 1 week in class with 4 different classes, and I watched it every time. I was glued to it every time. Imagine that shows the quality of this movie, because I thought, I'm going to get bored in number 3 or 4 and I'll start just doing some work or something. I watched it every time, and I understood more every time. No joke. It's a fantastic piece of art.
Never bored.
Might get maybe after 10 or something, right? But sometimes maybe give it some time. But 4 times in a week, and I loved it every time. Jimin, any final words? Any final observations? I know you've said a lot. You've said some amazing stuff today.
I've been thinking about this question like a very long time, but I don't think I really have things to say, because
Park Chan-wook would think that's a great ending.
yeah, great ending, but like I think this is very personal thing, but I think it's time to like decision to leave this movie. I think I should leave from it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, kind of. It's a nice movie, and I'm very sad it didn't win the Oscar. Yeah. And yeah, like I didn't have anything left to say about this movie, so I want to talk about the Oscar thing like a very short. Park Chan-wook said his like best movie. He thinks his best movie is JSA.
Brilliant movie.
Yeah, of course, brilliant movie. It's very nice, it's very perfect, and I love that movie too. But the reason why he chose that movie, like his best job, because JSA made him popular, and JSA made it popular so that he can make another movie. He can, because of the JSA success, he can make another. He can try another things. So like there's because of JSA, like 아가씨 can be there, 헤어질 결심 can be there, and like Oscar thing, I don't really like like Western like this kind of 시상식 like Oscar or like kind of things. I don't really like it, but like in other opinion, if Decision to Leave won the Oscar, it can make another opportunities to him, but Oscar didn't give it to him. So that's a very sad point. And I read the interview about Park Chan-wook mentioned he didn't want the Oscar, and he said the same thing. Oscar, like, some of people think the real artists don't really need to like depends on what they won the prize or not. They just keep going their art, but art need money. Art need popularity. Art need money, and what brings money and popularity is prize, like an Oscar. So even if it's Park Chan-wook is one of the famous director in Korea, he still needs more popularity. He still needs more money to start his new project. But like an Oscar or like just other prize thing in Western country, it could just go all over the Western directors, Western things, a kind of a local prize session. So not just because of the multiculturalism or like Asian rights or something, Oscar kind of prize can give people, can give artists a next chance, next opportunity to keep their art going. So if they like his movie, but if they like Western people or like some people like the Asian director's movie or just some other director's movie, I think they should give him prize to, not just because prize is important, the prize itself is important, but it can be a next opportunity. And I was very sad Park Chan-wook has lost maybe he might lost that opportunity to like fail got the Oscar.
I can feel your sadness when you say that, Jimin, and how opportunities are important, because this is not an Oscar, but because of this podcast, maybe 5 more people will watch this movie. Not many, but maybe some people have not seen this movie. Maybe some people listen to this and not watch it. But the reason we're talking about this movie is because I think this is a brilliant Korean movie that many people haven't seen. Korean people might have seen it, and Chinese people might have seen it, but I don't think many people outside of Korea that might be interested in it have seen it. So hopefully this is a little bit of something. I say that kind of as a joke, you know. I can't compare it to an Oscar, but yeah. Jessie?
Yeah, my final words. Okay, my speech might be a little dangerous. Yes, I think just chase after and pursue what you want, and just follow your inner heart. Yeah, and never be ashamed of expressing that you want love, or you want being loved. I think that's love is not love love is not a stupid thing or retarded. I think many people distort the meaning of love. So just pursue your love. Yeah.
That's very nice. I don't think that's dangerous at all. I think that's a very important message. Yeah. I guess I'm going to ask you guys in a minute, by the way. The last thing I'll ask you is like a movie, a book, or a song. Because I did this with my last guest, like just a recommendation. It's just anything, right? I did this with my last guest, and some people really liked that I asked that question. So I just want to do it from you guys. I guess my final thing to say about this movie is that we get caught up in a lot of commercial success, and sometimes things are popular because they're popular, and it's really hard to find things that do something different. It's hard to do things that challenge us, and sometimes a lot of movies, they give us sex and they give us violence, but ultimately they have a happy ending, and you can see the happy ending coming a mile off. And there might be a dark Avengers movie, but you know at the end it's not going to end dark, it's going to end good. And it's almost like the media is afraid of challenging us. It's almost like you're not allowed to have that, you're not ready for that, because it is ambiguous and it's grey. And I think we're, in the last couple of weeks, watching The Matrix with my students, all my students said they would take the blue pill and they wouldn't go for the truth. They would stay in the fantasy. And then we did Plato's cave, right? And many students told me, I'll stay in the cave. And this is the media that we're fed, where there's a happy ending, where there's a perfect. And I sometimes think we need more of this art. I think we need art. There's a fabulous sentence, which is, art should comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable. And I think this movie does both. It disturbs you in a way, and it leaves you, as Kelly has said, and you've all said it. It's kind of like, how are we talking about this thing? But if this was Extreme Job, or if this was the latest Ma Dong-seok movie or something, we're not going to talk about it, because there's nothing to talk about. It's just like, yeah, that was good. Did you see that? That was nice. Yeah. And it's done and it's finished. But this gives us something that we all interpret it differently. We all have different perspectives on it. And it all changed us in a way. When you had to watch it, it probably made you reevaluate love. It probably made you reevaluate what you think about infidelity, and it probably made you revisit old ideas about cinema and art and explore things. And it changed us in a way by watching this movie, and it changed us all differently. I think that's the best thing about the movie. We all stared into the abyss, and it's time to take a break from it, isn't it? Like, I feel so deep into it now. I remember, this is the last thing I'll say about the movie, once I'd watched the movie 5 times, I was going up to people going, I think this is like Fight Club. I think Haejoon has insomnia and he killed everybody. I think it's all in his mind and it's a dream. And students who had just watched it once, they would look at me and go, Professor, you're crazy, go away. Because I'd just gone so deep into it, right? It was like that. Guys, thank you for... I've learned so much listening to you guys today. I loved it, much more than I expected. Final thing, give me a movie, give me a drama, give me a book that you might be into. Like, what should I watch? What should people watch? What should people read? What should people listen to? Give me some ideas. You're looking at me. Go on, Jessie, please.
I got a movie here, and I also got a picture.
We'll describe it for the people just listening on audio. Don't worry, it's all good.
This movie's name is M Butterfly, and I will explain this name later. And this story is a French diplomat fall in love with a Chinese Peking opera actress, and they got married for almost 20 years. And one day, the French diplomat was arrested for disclosure of national secrets. And until that day, he realized that the one he got married for 20 years was a man. And this man is a Chinese spy.
I have so many questions. Like, how
This
could you?
this based on real story.
Okay.
True
Yes.
story.
Oh, you know this. Yes, what is shocking to me is not the story. It truly happened before in China.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the most shocking. And this name, M Butterfly,
Yeah.
you can understand it as Madam Butterfly, and you can also understand it as Mr. Butterfly.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the butterfly has two sides. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. What year roughly is that? Like 10 years old, 20 years old?
30 years old.
30 years. The way you just said that, you were like 30 years old. Like, that's ancient.
Yeah, it's Asian
Yeah,
movie.
Yeah, yeah. It's
That's
the
Jeremy
90s.
Irons movie.
I just saw that on the top. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
First time I've heard of it. Fascinating suggestion.
Yeah,
Thank
fascinating.
you. M Butterfly. Do you mean any thoughts? A book, a movie, a song?
Book. I don't know. I just remind thinking of Crying in H Mart.
Mm.
Truly nice book. I think every Asian every Asian girls should read it. Like, prepare your tissues. You're gonna cry. And
I love that book, by the way. I bought it for my mum for Christmas. She didn't like it. Maybe, I was trying to get, like, she has a granddaughter like Elizabeth and things like that, and that identity. She didn't tell me anything about it. So I think maybe it wasn't for my mum. I thought it was an amazing book. I liked it.
that's for. I know the books are for everyone, but like
Get it? Yeah.
Korean girls,
Mm.
Korean women
Mm.
who had kind of deep feelings with their moms. It's about I don't know how to like express this. It's just you should read it. You should read it. And about the song. Okay, then when I was preparing this conversation, I kept listening this like Ryuichi Sakamoto's song,
Mm.
like, The Sheltering Sky. The title is The Sheltering Sky,
Mhm.
and it's the theme song of the like Bernardo Bertolucci's movie.
Okay.
Really nice director, but you cannot watch this movie in Korea. I guess there's no like 합법적인 legal way to watch it, but I think this song really matches well with the decision to leave.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I know that song or the movies. That's great. Awesome.
The song?
I don't think I know The Sheltering Sky. Yeah, I'm not sure I know that. That's great. Love it. Kelly? You've got a picture on your Go ahead.
I want to recommend movie 파수꾼.
Yeah.
Lee is coming.
이재훈.
He's Lee.
You like Lee Jae-hoon, don't you?
Yes.
파수꾼 is a great movie.
I've not seen it. Okay.
One of the greatest 독립 영화.
Yes, it's
In Korea.
independent movie,
movie.
but amazing success. I think that one is the best success besides the independent movie. And My Handsome Guy is coming out.
Did he look that good when you did Pilates with him?
Amazing.
This is the happiest I've seen you.
And the reason why I'm recommending is this movie is like based on this movie is based on school life, and it's really realistic. And I really prefer like critical success movie, like as I told, and this one is like amazing mood with it. And for like students, I think this one can be very like gives us a lot of lessons, and also like there is lots of fun stops in it. And this one like really express the like just normal situation in school life in a very realistic way, but it's never boring, which is similar with the decision to leave. So I really recommend it.
How old was he when he played the school? He plays a school kid in that?
No.
No, okay. Because sometimes you watch K-dramas and there's like people in their 30s, but they're in like high school uniforms.
He was over 30, I
Okay.
guess. And he was like wearing uniform. But anyway, I don't care.
Yeah, that's my point. That happens in these Asian movies. Yeah, very good. I've not seen that either. Thank you.
And also, Park Jung-min is main character, like both, and their acting is amazing.
Do you like fantasy and sci-fi? Because every time you talk about it, you're like, it's so realistic, it's amazing. It feels like you like realistic stuff.
Yeah, I don't really like fantasy. Like, that's kind of yuchi for me.
It's too childish. and-
Yes.
Yeah. You're very mature, Kelly.
Yes.
Well done. Yeah. I'll give you one song that I've been listening to recently, and I listened to it about 8 times the other night, and then I put it on in the car when I was driving to Gangwon-do, and literally I felt like it started making me cry. It started making my chest heavy. I was like, oh my God, this song is just brutal. The song is called Anne, A-N-N-E, and it's by a guitarist called John Frusciante. And the beautiful thing about this song is it like starts as a ballad, but then it goes into something like carnival music, and then it goes into some Gregorian chanting thing, and then it ends on this big acoustic guitar, and then finally these weird two electric guitars play a solo, and all of this happens in like 3.5 minutes, and you can't predict what's happening. You would never, it's this kind of hang on, and it throws you left and it throws you right, and there's some beautifully devastating lines in there. But what I feel in this song when I listen to it, it's like somebody just opened up their soul and just shared it with the world, or they just shouted it out. Just this pure, there's no filter, they just did that. And if you haven't heard Anne by John Frusciante, I'm not sure it will work for everybody, but that's it. And I think that's it for our podcast today. Kelly, Jimin, Jessie.
Yeah.
How do we say goodbye in Chinese?
再见.
再见.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Oh, thank you. Just be nice to me until we finish. We'll all say it together. Ready? On 3, and then we're done. 1.
再见.
Ah, okay.
再见.
Okay, that's what we're going to try and say. I'll butcher it, but you'll be better than me. Don't worry. 1, 2, 3.
再见.
And relax, guys. That's it. Well done. Very good.